Hello, hi, welcome to the vlog. Hope you're doing well. I'm really trying to stay consistent. I don't know if it's showing. I think by this point I've posted 3 videos. So let's see how long we can keep it up. The plan is to keep it up the entire year. The plan is to stay consistent the entire year. That is the plan. Today is Monday, and I'm going to welcome you to the vlog, and then we're going to roll this back to the weekend because, I never opened up the vlog, but I've done things over the weekend that I filmed. I will let you watch that, and then you'll come back, and then we will continue the vlog from Monday, right? Right, great. So let's roll back to Saturday evening. I'm about to head out for dinner with a friend. I wanted to show you today's scent of the night or the evening. I've gone with Ellis Brooklyn Après. I've been wearing this so much ever since I bought it. It's become like my signature scent in some way. And then I've layered that with Kayali's Love Fest Burning Cherry 48. This is a cherry fragrance that's also woody and aromatic, so it complements the woody aromatic aspects of Ellis Brooklyn's Après. So yeah, this is the fit for the day, for the evening rather. Let's head out for dinner. Hello, happy Sunday. I'm headed to pick up a friend, then we go grocery shopping, then probably book shopping. It's a nice, lovely, sunny Sunday. Yeah, going good so far. We already went to church in the morning and came back. It's been sunny, but the sun is kind of disappearing, which is sad. That's the plan. Let's pick up a friend, then do the weekly grocery shop, and then I don't know what we're gonna do after that. We might hang out at her place. We'll see where the day leads us. More like where the afternoon leads us. It's 2:47. of the workday now, and I wanted to do a quick book haul. Now that you've watched the footage, I ended up buying a lot of books. There were so many good things. But also mid last year, I picked up the habit of reading again. Been a minute since I read a book, but the last half of the year, I ended up reading, 7 books. It's pretty good for half a year. But I've been intentionally picking up the habit to get away from my screens because I use screens for everything, for work, leisure, creating content, too many screens. And therefore, I like to read physical books when I can. And I'm trying to intentionally cultivate that habit. And I began doing that a bit mid last year towards the end. And one of the books that I read was this one. It's called Rejection Proof. This was a book we were gifted, when was this? 2020, during one of the career events at work. And I have struggled through reading this book for a while. It's a great book. The author talks about how he basically ran experiments, asking for crazy things, expecting rejection so that he can get over his fear of rejection. And it turns out that majority of the time, the people actually said yes. It's interesting. It's a great read. The next book I read was Lean In. I bought this book in 2019 before moving back in Nairobi, and I did not read it until last year. And for some reason, I'm actually happy that I didn't read it immediately I moved, because the content was more relevant after I had worked in corporate America for a while. So the things she was talking about in the book, about the corporate space, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe in 2019, it wouldn't have made sense. But now, definitely makes sense. Interesting insights. I love the book. The next book I read was The Defining Decade. This is Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most Out of Them Now. Another interesting book. I am glad I read this when I was still in my 20s. I do agree with most of the things it says about the 20s being that period when you're making life-changing decisions. Like, you're beginning your career at that time. You're finishing college. You're growing up. You're becoming an adult. You're getting more independent. You're potentially picking a life partner in that decade. A lot of things are happening. You probably might even, get a mortgage or something in that one decade. You might even get kids in that one decade. A lot of things are happening in your 20s. And the choices you make in your 20s, just because of how quickly life is evolving, they can have like long-term consequences, both positive or negative. So just being aware that those choices are important and being intentional about making those choices is a good thing to do in your 20s. Great book. Next book I read, hii ilikuwa kama set book. Atomic Habits. I don't know who hasn't read this book by this point. Everyone and their mother has probably read this book, and for good reason. It is such a great book on habit making, habit keeping, systems, putting up systems that set you up for success. I still try to implement some of the stuff I learned from this book in my day-to-day life. Great book. The next book I read is an interesting one. It's called Arithmetic. Now, I am the type of person who enjoys math for leisure. To be specific, number theory. I love number theory. This fun book offers a philosophical take on number systems and revels in the beauty of math. Number theory is all about the beauty of numbers, and I absolutely love that. If you've done computer science or anything in that neighborhood, you've probably learned number systems, the binary number system, the decimal one, which is base 10 that we all use, base 8, base 16. But this book just explores how people through history have counted and used arithmetic. People who would use base 7, people who would use base 60 to count. Like, for example, time, 60 seconds for a minute, 60 minutes for an hour. That's a different number system. It has its benefits because you can split it many different ways, because the number 60 is highly divisible. Point is, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. And something that I learned about reading is that you should just read the stuff that you enjoy. You don't have to read books because everyone else is reading. Thoroughly enjoyed this book. And then the next book I read, again, a math book, Thinking Better, The Art of the Shortcut in Math and Life. This was probably my favorite read of the entire year because it combines personal development with math. So it talks about mathematical shortcuts, like, for example, the pattern shortcut, the geometrical shortcut, the network shortcut. And then each chapter begins with a puzzle. It starts with a puzzle. And then as you read the chapter, it will explain the ways you can solve the puzzle using a shortcut. It's such an interesting book. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. And then the last book that I read, I have already spoken about, is this one, The Manager Path, A Guide for Tech Leaders Navigating Growth and Change. We already spoke about this in a previous blog. I finished it during the day that I filmed myself reading this. I finished the book. And I've had one-on-ones with both my skip and my manager around topics in here. Great book for anyone in a tech career. Highly recommend it. And now moving on to the book haul. Are you seeing all those books? I am adding being a reader to my identity because why else did I buy all these books if I'm not going to be a reader? All right, let's get into what they are. Number 1 on the list, How Not to Be Wrong, The Power of Mathematical Thinking. Based on what I've already told you about the 2 books I read that were math books. Is this surprising? It is not. It is not surprising. Next on the list, Numbers Don't Lie. 71 stories to help us understand the modern world. I mean, it also has like illustrations and examples for all the 71 stories. I am excited. Numbers Don't Lie. The next book is called The Code Book, The Science of Secrecy from Ancient Egypt to Quantum Cryptography. Cryptography was one of my favorite units in uni. So it combines computing and math, and I absolutely enjoyed it. And the contents of the book, again, there's some examples that you can geek out on. I am excited for that one. The next book, kinda related, it's also computing related, it's Irresistible, but this is computing and marketing and psychology put together. The Rise of Addictive Technology and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked. Another thing that I absolutely love is marketing and influence and that type of thing, and psychology and sales. Very intriguing. Studying people's behavior. I find that very intriguing. So I'm looking forward to reading this. The next book is Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. So yeah, the state of flow when you're working, when you get in the flow and things just are vibing when you're doing work. I would love to learn more about that. Looking forward to digging into this one. This other one came in highly recommended. I told you I would look up career development type of books. And this one came highly recommended. Outliers, The Story of Success. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. Another book, personal development again, Daring Greatly. How the Courage to Be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. I love that. I think there's power in vulnerability, so I am happy to dive into this one. And then the next one is Think Again, The Power of Knowing What You Don't Know. I am very intrigued in this one. I think it actually might be the one that I read first. The next book, I mean, I literally spotted it and I had to buy it because please, just read what it says. Seen, Heard, and Paid. The new work rules for the marginalized. Need I say more? Like, need I say more? If you're in a minority group in the workforce, I think I will let you know my thoughts after I read it. I did a bit of skimming before I picked it up just to see if the content was useful, and I liked what I saw so far. That's why I bought it, but I will let you know after I read it. Next book is Never Split the Difference. Negotiating as if your life depends on it. Another life skill that I would love to develop, the art of negotiating. I barely ever negotiate anything. I would love to change that. So if I can learn 1 or 2 tips from this book, this will be money well spent. So looking forward to getting into this one. And then finally, the last book that I picked up is The Light We Carry. I haven't read Becoming, surprisingly, but I watched an interview and I loved the insights she was talking about. It's about embracing your story, how your vulnerability is your power. I absolutely loved what I heard from her interview. And I like her as a person. So I bought the book. And that is everything. Anyway, let me know what book you've recently read that you really liked and what stood out to you about that book. Let me know in the comments. Hello, hi. I haven't picked up the camera in quite a while. Today is Wednesday. It's the first day of February and I came to watch the sunset. Pretty stunning. The sun has already set. But yeah, I'm just popping in to say hi. I've disappeared for a while, maybe a week or so. I don't know, it happens. Sometimes there's nothing really interesting to film. I undid my hair so and washed it, hence why I have my hoodie on. I need to buy a wig so that I can stop having to hide my hair, which really we shouldn't have to. That's like a different discussion. Anyway, I wanted to pop on here, show my face, and let you know some of the thoughts I was having while watching the sunset, which is basically just God's faithfulness. You know, when you watch the sun go up and down, the song that was in my spirit was I think it's Sinach's song, the one that goes something like, from the rising of the sun till it's going down, your faithfulness is sure, your mercy is ever true. No one knows like I know what you've done for me. That's why I praise you the way I do. And ain't that my testimony? Because I am literally living a series of answered prayers. So I love to have moments where I just, sit and just watch nature and worship. Sometimes just watching the sunset is a form of worship. So yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts. And yeah, I'm gonna go back home now because it's pretty cold. It's actually very cold and my hands are freezing, so yeah, I need to put the phone back in my pocket.